in this episode of The Mind Pump. So for the first 44 minutes, we do our introductory conversation. This is where we cover current events, our lives, and we just have a lot of fun.
And just stuff.
After that, we answer fitness questions from our audience. So that's what we do this episode. So the first 44 minutes, here's what we covered. We talked about Arnold Schwarzenegger and his love child. Everybody knows he had a child out of wedlock when he cheated on Maria. Kind of crappy. But this kid is grown up and lifting weights, and he looks exactly like Arnold.
Striking.
Yeah. Then we talked about allergies. Everybody's allergies are terrible right now because it's super windy. But I brought up a study that talked about how reishi mushrooms help bring down histamine and inflammation and tamp down allergic reactions in the body. It's also very good for inflammation and relaxation and sleep. Now, our favorite source of reishi mushroom comes from Four Sigmatic. Now, Four Sigmatic makes the best mushroom-based supplements. They have a dual extraction process, which is unique to them. And they have some of my favorite mushroom supplements like reishi, cordyceps, chaga, and lion's mane. We also have a discount for you. If you go to foursigmatic.com, that's FOURSIGMATIC.com/mindpump, and use the code mindpump at checkout, you'll get a full 15% off. Then we talked about the event that we had with Mike Matthews. That was a lot of fun. He said nothing that was super bad. Made me feel better.
Deep sigh of relief.
No, we had a good time with Mike. He's one of our good friends. And we talked about the pre-event workout. We all had a good time working out together at the gym. Adam talked about how he dressed Mike Matthews. Mike Matthews wasn't prepared for the workout. He needed some clothes. Luckily for him,
we got the hookup.
Adam had some Vuori shorts that he brought for him, and he got to taste the amazing fabric feeling of the Vuori shorts.
You'll never go back.
Now, Vuori is one of the best makers of athleisure wear that you can find anywhere. These are workout clothes that you can wear to your mother-in-law's house for dinner. Anyway, we got a discount for you.
all the time.
If you go to VuoriClothing.com, VUORI clothing.com/mindpump, you could use the code that's listed on that page and get a massive 25% off. Then I talked about my blood test. I went and got a physical. Now, everybody knows I eat a lot of red meat and a lot of cholesterol. So listen to the episode to find out what my blood lipid test may look like. Then we talked about
Zippy Zappy.
Dr. John Gottman and his relationship video. Justin watched it with his wife, and he thinks it helped. I talked about the study on choline and Alzheimer's. Apparently, people who eat a lot of choline in their diet have lower rates of Alzheimer's. Adam talked about being alone with his son, his baby son, for the first time ever. Did he set the house on fire? Was it a success? You have to listen to the episode to find out.
Stay tuned.
Justin talked about his Halloween costumes, and I talked about the movie Scary Stories. Great movie. Then we got into the fitness portion of this episode. The first question, this person's got a torn rotator cuff and AC joint sprain, so he's got shoulder problems. He wants to know how he should train around this injury. So if
Not
you have
just any person, it's Chase.
It's our friend Chase.
Tuning.
That's right. The next question, this person's been struggling with knee pain due to pronation distortion. This is when you have really, really flat feet and your knees kind of come in together. So they have knee pain. We give some advice to this person. The next question, how do we deal with hunger when you're fasting? So if you're trying to use fasting to improve your health, you're going to probably feel hungry. We give our tips on how you can work around that. And the final question, this person wants to know what our favorite types of gyms are to use and how each type of gym changes our experience. Also, this month, you asked for it, you got it. Your favorite, the most popular MAPS program, MAPS Anabolic, 50% off. It's half off. This is the MAPS program that started it all. It's a phenomenal muscle and strength builder. One of the best strength building programs that we offer. Great for boosting metabolism. So if you're one of those people who's been dieting for a long time and you want your metabolism to speed up, MAPS Anabolic is the program for you. It's a great full body routine with phases, trigger sessions, workout videos. Everything's planned and mapped out for you in this program. Again, it's 50% off. It's by far our most popular program. Here's how you get the discount. Go to mapsred.com, mapsred.com, and use the code RED50, RED50, no space, for the discount. Tell me that's not like kind of like a movie story where like kid grows up, doesn't know his dad. It's kind of like
Looks exactly like
and then
him.
you find out your dad is freaking Arnold.
Yeah.
And then he's cool with you. Hey son, sorry I wasn't there for you. You're like,
sorry, that was sort of a thing.
well, I mean, this is cool too. Yeah. Not as good, but still cool.
Well, was she living in with them?
She worked for them.
I know,
I think she was like a housekeeper.
Yeah, was she? That's what I'm saying. Was she like a live-in maid?
I think so.
Probably.
So he was probably raised in the house still. Wait a second. That's got to be weird. I wish I knew more of the story.
I know.
It came out. It's one of the reasons why he got divorced. It's one of the reasons why Schwarzenegger got divorced is because he had this illegitimate.
I know, but what I'm saying is, Kate, the maid works for the housekeeper works for them.
Yeah, you should pull up her picture, Doug. See what she looks like.
Yeah, pull up the story. I'm curious about this because was she and the child living in their house and
So here's what I read. What I read was that he got her pregnant, one of the housekeepers, and he gave her money on the side to take care of them.
Okay.
So he paid for them and everything to take care of them, but kept it a secret.
Oh, okay.
Nobody knew. Then it came out that he had this, that he cheated on Maria with this,
18 years ago? Is that like it came out like how
something
many?
like it came out a while ago? Yeah, that's her.
What?
That's insane.
Oh my god, dude.
That's probably
Arnold. Come on, man.
That's got to be her now, right? Like what was he's 18, so back her up 18 years. Would she?
I don't know. You can back her up as much as you want. But I mean. She was.
We've all had the. Yeah, I don't know.
She was there.
I can't say.
I mean, he made. You know what I'm saying? He's like, hey, where's Maria? Where is she? Mom went on the trip.
Oh, there she is, right there. Right? That's when he was little, right there. How little is he, right there?
And you know what's funny about this? That's crazy. So, Maria Shriver knew him since his toddler years, but she must have not known. But that must have been weird because. Yeah. The kid looks like a clone of Arnold.
Exactly like him.
It's weird. He looks more like Arnold than his other kids.
I would love to know the story and how it unfolded more than anything else. Like, I mean, imagine like she knew of him since he was a toddler. At what point did she start asking questions like,
damn, this kid looks like my husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. And have you seen pictures of Arnold's children with Maria?
No.
They don't look like Arnold as much. I mean, you see, but this kid looks. Look at that.
Yeah, no,
he's got the same smile.
It's the facial features.
Get to the chopper.
Really
hey, Dad, get to. He looks just like him.
No, he looks just.
Look at that. He's in movies.
He'd be a stunt double.
And then here's the other thing. Arnold's other kids, from what I know of, none of them are into lifting weights like that, like their dad was. They work out, but none of them are like into it.
Yeah.
This kid is an actor, wanting to be an actor, and is hardcore into lifting weights. And he's natural, but he's got his dad's build, and now him and his dad are like. Now him and Arnold are like cool now, right?
I'm wondering then. I'm assuming that before it came out, he probably wasn't spending as much time with him, and now are they like together all the time?
I don't know. He might be interesting to interview.
The kid?
Yeah,
I would love to.
That might be interesting, huh?
Yeah, no.
He looks like a great kid, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
He kind of looks like he's got Arnold's. What's the word?
Like he has charisma. Yeah.
Doesn't he kind of come across as having? Yeah.
Is that a picture of him right there? Back up, Doug.
When he was little.
Yeah.
Is that
her and him?
Maybe. I don't know.
Or a family forever change. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, because the thing about Arnold that makes him so special is he's got a charisma that is just unmatched. It got him whatever he wanted. He was so good. With his charisma so magnetic, from you look at all the things he's accomplished. He's also a very hard worker and all that stuff.
He's authentic, bro.
Yeah,
he's real. Hey, like him, like what he does or doesn't. He doesn't lie about it, really, right? I mean, he might have deceived his wife for this, and I probably got a lot of hate for it. But then when he was accused of it and it got called out, I'm sure he fucking
exactly. And he did pay. He did pay them. He did give her money, and now he's fostering a relationship with the kid.
Yeah.
I mean, he made a big fucking mistake, obviously. He's got a great wife, and, it's just a kid.
It's not one you can hide from, and the kid looks exactly like you.
Yeah. She's a Kennedy,
Yeah.
And, big mistake, Arnold.
When did they divorce officially?
That was a while ago.
Well, that just came out just a couple of years ago, didn't it?
No,
it
no,
was
that's old
probably
news,
a
dude.
decade or so.
Oh, I thought it happened when we were podcasting. It was before we even started podcasting.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Why do I feel like it like surfaced like in the last like 4 or 5 years?
It was at least,
Maybe because he started to look more like him and he's into working out, and so maybe like that stuff started to come around.
I don't know, but it's been a while. It's
Yeah.
been a while. I was sad at first when I heard about it because Arnold, you know how you have.
I know he's like a father to you. My dad let me down.
Yeah. You know how it is when you have somebody you look up to, and you, without realizing it, you create this like,
Of course.
you idolize them so they're perfect. So then you hear them fuck up, and then you're like, damn it,
Yeah.
that sucks.
Just a little.
Like when I first heard he took steroids when I was a kid, because I had his encyclopedia, bodybuilding, and following the routines. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, I'm gonna look like Arnold. I'm gonna do everything he does. And then later on, who was it? We had a family friend who was a chiropractor, but he was a bodybuilder. This jack guy, and he's like, and I would always ask him workout questions, and he goes, yeah, Arnold took steroids, right? I'm like, no, he didn't. He's like, yeah, he did.
I remember
We got this huge argument.
Hey, like 15 years ago, that was like a big argument. That was people would argue that all the time. I remember arguing that with my buddies.
Yeah.
He was natural still.
Yeah.
Everybody believed he was.
Yeah. And we got in this big old argument, and then I found out from someone else, and everyone's like, yeah, he's on. I was like, dang.
That's why I was trying to defend the Bash Brothers back in the day. Yeah.
Oh,
they
yeah.
got huge all of a sudden.
Just randomly.
Like that, dude.
Yeah.
They're total. They test for that.
You ever seen Barry Bonds? The difference in size. Forget his muscles, his head.
Yeah.
How did his head grow, bro? It looks different.
Him and Mark McGuire. Mark McGuire, I thought, had the biggest transformation. Mark McGuire was like skinny the first
He
year.
got
he came in the league.
gigantic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
That
natural.
was my favorite player of all time.
And then he blamed it on Andrew Stanideo, remember?
Yeah.
He's thinking Andrew. Shut up.
Andrew.
I bought about $1,000 worth of those
Oh
pills.
my god! I was getting some creams. Like,
It was, dude.
I'm like, they're doing this based off of creams.
Can I tell you something right now? Andrew Stanideo and all that bullshit is the reason how I got gynecomastia when I was younger.
Yeah.
That's what I got it through that stupid shit. I got zero gains from it. Not a single pound. Anyway,
Dude, my allergies are killing me, dude. You see the wind this weekend?
Oh yeah, dude, that wind's scary where I live because all the trees you can look up and they're just bashing each other at the top, and like randomly some big huge branches will fall down.
And
You're
because of my house being so hot, I've had all the windows open, so blowing all that through.
so what's it doing to you?
Oh, my allergies are kicking up like crazy.
So that's why. So Jessica too, she's been complaining of sinus and like sinus issues. I've been doing this now for a little while. Where you guys know I mess around with the medicinal mushrooms, the lion's mane, reishi, cordyceps. But I've been doing more reishi, and I've had no allergic effects at all. In other words, I haven't reacted to the weather.
What does that have to do with it?
Reishi has antihistamine properties. It's got anti-allergy, antihistamine properties. Yep.
What? Mm-hmm. Bullshit.
Yeah, no, legit. Like I'll pull up a study right now.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know this.
Yes, 100%.
Look at this guy slowly closing me on Four Sigmatic.
Again. Yeah. No. It's got, here we go. It's a suppression of inflammation and allergic responses.
No kidding.
Yeah, so it actually works. And the studies show that it has an acute, this is why reishi, this is what I love about the medicinal mushrooms. They have these immunomodulating effects, which is good because you don't want your immune system to be heightened if you have autoimmune issues, because that's bad. Obviously, your autoimmune issue means your immune system is hypervigilant to begin with. You don't want something to depress an immune system if your immune system is low. So with medicinal mushrooms, oftentimes they modulate the immune system, meaning if your immune system it needs a boost, it gives it a boost. If it needs a little bit of tamping down, it tamps it down. And so these particular studies show reishi is really good. It's got those immunomodulating effects, but specifically they were studying how it affected allergies and histamine and stuff like that. And it does. It works really well. It works really well with the immune system. And here's the cool thing about this too, that you can take this a step further. Now, the reason why I take reishi isn't because of my allergies. I don't necessarily have bad allergies, but I do react to food sometimes. I have like food intolerance and stuff. And I did notice a long time ago that if I took an antihistamine like Zyrtec over time, that I noticed I had better digestion. And I went on some message boards, and there were other people on there with gut issues who said that they noticed a similar thing. So I said, okay, it's probably just because it's getting my immune system to not react so strongly. And it's a mild effect. So I started using reishi instead, and it definitely works. And that's Probably why I'm not noticing all the sniffles and weird shit right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Just use it at night too because it's good. It's a good relaxing mushroom. So if you take it about an hour or two before bed, you'll get good sleep.
Dude, no, I 100% tonight will do this because the last maybe the last 5 days or so, it's like this. We went past the heat wave, so now it's cooled off.
Yeah.
So now I got this cool, nice breeze. I'm loving it, but now because of all the stuff got stirred up because of the wind, now it's blowing into the house, and I had
It is a major shift.
I had an allergy attack just 2 nights ago. Katrina came downstairs. Where I'm just sneezing and hacking and like.
I'm laughing because I'm remembering what house was it that we rented a house. I think it was in the Oakland Hills or something. And it was lots and lots of pollen in the air. And Adam had to sleep with his underwear on his head.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. No, it was.
Because it was the only thing that could filter the.
Yeah, I forgot all my allergy medicine. And it was right in the middle of the season, and this house was right in the middle, like the forest of all this shit, and it was blowing through the house. And I was down, and this house was a beautiful house, but they had nothing in there. There was nothing in there for me to take or to use. And I remember going like, what am I going to do to like try and make this better? And I used my underwear as a filter. And I used the elastic.
At least it's familiar choke.
The elastic. At least it was a clean pair. I hadn't worn it yet. Yeah, so it wasn't a dirty pair that I had to put around. But could you imagine somebody walking in the room and me wearing like a hat?
He's the most narcissistic motherfucker I've ever met.
He smells
his own underwear.
Or he's some messed up superhero. Like, I'm out fighting crimes.
I don't got
Can't
time.
recognize me.
Underwear
head man.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's fine. So the event. What did you guys think of the event that we did?
Oh, it was another good time.
It was
with
great.
Our boy Mike.
Yeah, it was good, man.
It was really good. I really liked. I liked this when we did SP this time. I liked the room that we were in. It was a little more intimate.
The room was better.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this is the first time we had the option where people could enroll and get tickets for dinner with us and Mike Matthews was there. Mike Ruscio was a surprise guest. He showed up, so everybody got to hang out with our gut health expert. And we all had a nice dinner, and then afterwards they got to sit in on a live podcast. That's the first time we did that. What do you guys think? Do you guys think it was a good
That's
deal?
probably my favorite part, actually.
I was going into it. I was really nervous that we weren't going to be able to provide enough value to really justify it.
Yeah, I really wanted them to leave feeling really good.
That's how I felt, and so I was concerned about that. Like, okay, if I were to spend, $600 on a dinner with, whoever it is that I would pay that kind of money to sit down with, like, what would I want to get out of it? And I was worried going into it. But after the whole weekend was over, between the dinner and the private interview with Mike and then the time we spent even at the SP, I felt really good. And then I got the feedback. I mean, all the people that came back at one point came up to me.
What was surprising to me, I don't know if you guys were surprised by this, but nobody worked in fitness.
That blew my mind.
I thought a lot of trainers
really
and
cool.
fitness
Tire
entrepreneurs,
distributor, biologist,
dog walker.
Dog walker. I mean, it was just super random.
Yep.
I did not anticipate that.
No, they were all from different walks of life, and they all had different stories. There were a couple people that our show had really, really impacted. The one young lady who she's been following us for a very, very long time. She says our show helped her beat or work through anorexia. Mm-hmm. So for her, our show means a lot, and it's very humbling to hear something like that. There was another gentleman I met who lost tons of weight,
almost 100 pounds.
Yeah, listening to our show, and now he's battling with how to stay there. And so we were able to have a good discussion. His wife was there, and what a great couple. Just so supportive of each other.
Good people.
I gave them big hugs afterwards. That was really cool. Then there was the gentleman who he's like a tire distributor. Yeah, that guy with the super firm handshake guy.
Guy would break my hand.
Great, smart dude. I mean, everybody was cool. And then there was that young kid who knew more about fucking supplements and shit than I did.
Yeah.
Did you hear him talking?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were having a great conversation.
Yeah.
It was a good time. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Beforehand, what'd you guys think of? Because I think I figured out the formula for myself, at least in terms of going in with the right state of mind. I need to have a good hard workout about 2 or 3 hours before we do the events.
No, that was a good call. I'm glad we did that. That definitely helps to kind of get you calm. I think the recipe really is to expend the energy and like get to a place where okay, I'm calm going into the event, because I mean we go in there hyped already.
Yeah,
we go in there super like hyped up to meet.
So we walk into Club Sport, right, and we're walking in. I walked in with Danny, our head trainer, and Mike Matthews, and because I drove him there. So we're walking in, we're all setting up, and then this pretty young girl who's working at the club's like, "Hey Sal, welcome back," or whatever, and then she leaves or whatever, and Danny's like, "Oh my God," he goes, "Gosh, dude, what the girl's just." And I'm like, yeah. But he doesn't know it's my cousin. I have a cousin that works there.
Yeah.
And she's like saying hi to me.
Yeah.
And Daddy thinks I'm like the man. You know what I mean? 'Cause I don't talk to anybody
just
when I go.
Roll with it.
Yeah, I don't talk to anybody when I go to that gym. I just walk into it. But I have a cousin that works there, so she said hi, and Danny was like, "Whoa,
yes, happens all the time."
he's so cool." But Danny was fucking hilarious.
Oh, with Mike?
Dude.
Oh, he's a little fanboy.
So excited.
That was
Poor guy.
fun.
He was so excited. He
Love
was
his energy. It's like very,
500 miles an hour, dude. He just teaching Mike exercises
Turbo.
and stuff.
Mike's a good sport.
Yeah.
Mike's a good sport. For
Yeah,
sure.
and they looked like they had a good workout. So it was
I
really
got
angles.
I got to dress Mike up because he didn't have his workout clothes, so got him all Vuori'd out.
Oh, that's right.
Did you notice that? That I set him all up with that?
Now you mention it, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's.
I hooked him up with my favorite shorts are the trail shorts from there.
I don't know, dude. Course shorts for me.
Really?
Yeah, because they have the lining of them is more like boxer shorts, and it's like looser.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're longer too, because the other ones are too short.
I like the core one. I like the
it.
core shorts, but I don't know which one you're talking
So
about.
the Banks ones are the ones that are really short, and I'm like kind of like 50. I have to be in the mood, or I feel like my legs look really full for like.
I like wearing them.
Yeah. That's more like
you gotta
South.
be real confident.
Yeah, so I like those ones, but the trail ones are like the combo of the two, I feel like, because they're super thin and light, and they have that lining inside also.
Okay.
So you can almost wear them like swim trunks, but they're stylish enough that I wear them with like normal t-shirts and stuff. So they're my favorite.
And what did Mike think about? Because had he worn Vuori before?
You know what? I didn't. I mean, he put it on and he was like, "Oh, this is really nice," but I didn't tell him like, "Oh, you're rocking all our Vuori stuff."
Yeah.
I just gave it to him. So I don't know if you guys noticed that, but when we were all working out, everybody was literally. Danny was the only one that was.
Like
I was wearing it. I was wearing my green ones. The core shorts.
We look like a big sports team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for me.
This is what we've always wanted. Yeah.
That's funny. Hey, you want to hear something crazy? So I'm going to preface this just so that the audience knows how funny this is. So I'm going to be totally honest. I probably eat red meat 6 days a week. Maybe 6 days a week. I eat.
Oh, you
red
got your
meat.
test.
And I eat a lot. Hold on.
7.
And I eat a lot of red meat.
You did your blood work, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you guys the results. So I eat a ton of red meat, probably a pound a day on average.
You salt everything like crazy.
I salt the fuck out of everything like crazy, just because it tastes good and whatever, and I sweat, so whatever. I have on average, when I track, anywhere between 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of dietary cholesterol a day. Now keep in mind that's like 10 eggs, 10 eggs yolks every single day. I feel really good when I eat a lot of cholesterol and improves my strength, performance. I've talked about this before. I put butter on things. I do all the shit that they used to say you're not supposed to. Now I eat a healthy diet. My meat is grass fed. They're good eggs. I eat healthy, non-processed whole foods. I don't overconsume most of the time. Of course, I exercise on a regular basis. Got my numbers. I actually did a physical, and my doctor had me do a full lipid panel. Here's my total cholesterol.
And when you tell me what
is good, bad.
Yeah. What's low and high, and like
so
where you are in the range.
You want to be under 239, but under 200 is what they say is good for total cholesterol. Now, from my research, you don't want to be too low, and I tend to be really, really, really low. So you don't want to be, some people will say lower than 150 may increase your risk of infection and stuff like that. But whatever. My total 150. So my total cholesterol measured at 150. Triglycerides. They want your triglycerides to be under 400 or 300 or something like that. Mine are 39.
Wow.
My HDL, ideally you want to be above 40. This is what they call a good cholesterol. I'm at 66. And then my LDL, which they would call the bad cholesterol, although it's way more complicated than that. My LDL, you want it to be below 159. Mine's at 76. And my ratios are like off the charts. Doctor he sent me a note afterwards. He's like, some of the best, numbers I've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I replied to him like, I eat 8 to 10 egg yolks every day, sir.
But his head exploded.
Now there are genetic variances. There are people who will do like a keto diet and their blood lipids will go all over the place. But for a lot of people, no, man. A lot of people, you eat an unprocessed whole food diet. You don't overconsume. You exercise. You got well-sourced food. All that stuff's going to be good.
I always wonder how that would throw somebody off that is going from one extreme to the other too. Like you just made a comment, like somebody who could be on a keto diet could completely be off the charts, but it'd be interesting if they actually were to transition to that versus like go from
like 100% all the way.
Right.
Well, some people, look, saturated fat does raise cholesterol in people, but it raises the good cholesterol as much or more than the bad cholesterol does in a lot of people. For me, a high cholesterol works really, really well. And when I don't eat lots of cholesterol, my cholesterol gets really low. So a little bit lower than it is now, even not too much lower. So for me, it works out really, really well. They also did a blood testosterone level test on me.
Oh, how was your test?
In the middle. I'm in the middle. Yeah, my which I'm a little disappointed.
Because you were really high not that long ago.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I got to pay attention and see what supplements I was taking at the time, because there are some supplements that may cause my testosterone to temporarily spike.
I just got the one in the mail that you told me to order.
Okay, good.
So I'll start
see how it
today.
affects you.
Yeah.
But no, I'm right in the middle. But I was a little disappointed because I'm like, fuck, I thought I'd be at the top. You know what I mean?
Thought I was crushing.
Yeah,
it.
what the hell? But
So
anyway,
is that
I told my girl, I'm like, yeah. She's like, what's your testosterone? I'm like, right in the middle. She's like, don't raise it, please. I'm like, all right. Damn it. Yeah. But it makes me wonder. I wonder where I was at when I was, 18, 19.
I don't know. When you did the first Everlywell test and you were like through the charts.
Because I've done 3 Everlywell test ones. 2 of them have me in the middle. One of them I was really high, but I got to go back and see what I was doing, because testosterone levels get affected by a lot of different things. I woke up 2 hours before I did the test. Maybe if I did it right after I woke up, maybe it would have been higher, because that's when testosterone peaks. I don't know how my sleep was, or my stress. You got to look at a lot of different things, because you can lower if I had you miss your sleep for a couple nights, I'm sure your testosterone will drop considerably.
Right.
Right away.
I know.
And I know people who've raised their testosterone considerably by doing something as simple as like red light therapy, or just getting more sleep, or more sunshine, or whatever, or taking vitamin D, stupid things like that.
Well, I'm stoked. Between you and also Jessica had both recommended Dr. John Gottman's video to us.
Yeah.
Did
you guys watch that?
Yeah, we sat down together and watched it. And it was good because, we'd been going through this sort of season of just being angry with each other. It was a whole season. It's just like, why are we like at each other and like doing all like so?
That happens, dude.
It was just one of those things. It was annoying, and we both kind of recognize that we need to kind of put more work into like scheduling out, getting out and like having dates and reconnecting and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, this was the beginning of it. It was so great and so punctual, the way that he described like the successful relationships that he had studied versus, the ones that inevitably failed, and why they failed, and all these characteristics between the two differences. And it was very enlightening, for me, but also for Courtney to see like, oh, wow, like this is something you do, or this is something that we both like intuitively do, and we should keep promoting that and like keep that up in our relationship. So it was very good.
So was it the Four Horsemen when he was going through the 4 horse? So there's 4 things that he identified that if you do them, especially if you do all of them, it predicts with like scary accuracy,
like above 90%,
that you're going to get divorced.
Yeah.
When he was going through them, were you guys like, ooh, I do that one, or maybe I do that one sometimes?
Yes and no. I think like there was hints of it, but it wasn't like contempt and all these kinds of things. Like if there was any sort of hint in that direction, it was very minimal. Cool. I think that we weren't. It wasn't alarming as I think some people might go through that and be like, like our relationship isn't as solid as I thought.
Yeah. So we have his book, think the 7 habits of something about successful marriages. I forgot the title of it. I could pull it up. It's a really good book, and Jessica and I are going through it. And the thing about us is we were doing a lot of the Four Horsemen, a lot of the 4 bad stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But then we were excellent on all the good stuff.
Oh, okay.
And one thing that Dr. Gottman says is that in his studies, and he studied relationships deeper and better than anybody that's ever has, and his studies have been replicated several times, so they're legit. Mm-hmm. He says that when you're really good with a lot of the good stuff, you can get away with a lot of doing the bad stuff. So if you have a really good friendship and you understand each other with what they call love maps, like what
a very clear love map, that you've established, so you know like what direction like everybody wants to go together.
Yes,
like you create this vision of your other partner. You really like listen and create that, and that's so important to do.
Yeah, it's called the 7 Principles for Making Marriages Work. Super good, but that video was just it's exceptional, and the way he communicates it, you don't. Like you feel like you understand it. Doesn't feel, like he's blaming or whatever.
No, and it's funny because it felt like it was from the 90s. It was like a very old, like everybody's dressed all like, with like hairspray and everything. And so I was imagining this kind of cheesy like talk or whatever, but it was very like very punctual, very good, solid information all the way through.
Mm-hmm. So, it's really, really good stuff.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was reading this weekend. A study was just published. I think it was in PubMed, I want to say, about choline. So you guys know what choline is? It's a compound. You find a lot of it in animal products. Yeah. Egg yolks are probably one of the higher sources of choline. And a lot of scientists are saying that choline should be considered an essential nutrient. It behaves in a similar way to like B vitamins, but it's really important for pregnant women to have it. It contributes to brain development. It's really important for most people to have it because it's good for brain health. And a lot of nootropics will contain choline as an ingredient. Some of them will have like alpha GPC, which is a form of choline, or just choline. But anyway, a new study showed that lifelong dietary regimen of choline potentially could be something that would prevent Alzheimer's disease. So they're finding now that eating a decent amount of choline is extremely protective against a lot of these disorders or diseases of the brain. And this is good news. You guys know Alzheimer's is, because of the aging population, this is going to be a real bad thing. The authors also wrote that they also said that vegans should supplement with choline because they're not getting, because choline isn't really found in anything but animal products, that they're placing themselves, according to the study, they're placing themselves at risk for developing brain degenerative disorders because of their lack of choline.
Do you think we're going to see more things rise like that in the next, because of the movement, the hard push right now on veganism in this last like 5-10 years?
I think they're going to keep finding like nutrients that were like pretty important, if not essential.
Because the truth is, we've met plenty of people that understand this part of it. In fact, we had a vegetarian at our dinner, right? And make a conscious effort to make sure that they're either supplementing or they have a lot of diversity within what they're eating, because it doesn't have a lot of diversity in the first place. But then I have to think about the people that I've heard talking about when I think of like my niece and my cousin, and they watch a documentary and then they all of a sudden are, I'm doing it for the environment, and then their choices of food, they don't put a lot of thought into doing it really well. And the question is, are they better off health-wise, trying to be a vegan, save the environment, or save animals, or that's the cool hip thing to do, but not putting effort? Or is it better for them to just eat the terrible, diet that they were probably eating?
It depends on their choices. You know, if you look at the average person, the average omnivore person who really doesn't know a whole lot about nutrition or doesn't put a whole lot of thought into nutrition, if you look at their diet, the one food that you can count on to be whole, unprocessed, okay, if you look at their whole diet, the one thing that typically is unprocessed and whole is meat. It's usually chicken, eggs, or dairy, or beef, or some other form of meat, fish, right? So if these people then decide they're going to avoid all meat, what are they replacing it with?
Right. You're taking out one of the most nutrient-dense foods
And then
your
in
diet.
excess processed.
Yeah. So now,
Options.
and so now because we live in modern times and you have access to all kinds of variety of foods and supplements, you could totally do a vegan diet. And this not for everybody, still not for everybody, but for some people, you could do it and you'd be okay. But I don't see a lot of people. I see what you're saying, Adam.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of people who, because there was a lot of health problems that came from the fear of fat in the 80s and 90s. 100% that caused problems. Health problems later on because people replace the fat with what? Exactly. Okay, great example. It's actually a great example. 80s and late 70s, but 80s and 90s for sure, we demonized fat.
Right.
Big time demonized fat. So people took fat out of the diet for reals. They actually did. If you look at how Americans ate, their fat intake dropped considerably. What did they replace it with? It was sugar and processed foods, and Americans' diets got worse. So right now we're doing the same fucking thing. We're demonizing meat.
Right.
What do you think is going to happen? Do you really think they're going to replace
How are you going to
it?
satiate that appetite?
Yeah, you think they're going to replace it with like well-balanced like vegetables, nuts, and fruits? And
that's why when I think we talk about this and we get people that have like been vegans for a really long time and they think that more people should be it and they get upset at the message that we have. It's like, listen, I'm not talking to you. Yeah. I'm not talking about the person who's doing it well. Just like I wouldn't talk to a person who really has figured out ketogenic and how it works for them. Like if it works for you and you have figured it out and you take the time to diligently go through and make sure you're getting what your body needs, like I'm warning the rest of the population that sees one documentary and then decides to stop eating a certain way for whatever bullshit
They just stopped
reason.
eating meat and they didn't do any of the work to make sure all the nutrients are getting in.
100%. Just like the same people that probably watched some documentary 20 years ago on why fat is killing everybody and then just stopped eating fat, but then really didn't take the time to like balance out the rest of the diet.
And back then what happened was because the market started to fear fat, food manufacturers started to make everything low fat. But in order to increase its palatability, they replaced it with more chemicals, more sugar in particular. And so we did eat less fat, but we ended up eating more of other shit. And so what's happening right now with the demonization of meat? Go to the grocery store right now and start to pay attention to the foods that you see. And you're starting to see
more Impossible burgers
vegan. You see vegan written on it. Yeah. And just like back then when it said low fat, remember everything was low fat. Cheerios, low fat. Freaking, Lucky Charms, low fat. Gummy bears, low fat. Everything said low fat. Now you're starting to see vegan on everything because it's a selling point. But it says vegan, but it's shit. Yeah. The Impossible Burger, look at the ingredients on that, or Impossible Meat. Look at that stuff. It's garbage. It's not good. It's not a better replacement. The macros aren't even better. There's nothing about it that's better. Yeah. But people are picking it because it's vegan, so I think it must be
healthy.
Yeah, and you're gonna and they're gonna be lacking out on some important nutrients like choline. This is a new one that they're really starting to show that is probably something that's essential or should be essential. Anyway, Adam, weren't you alone for the first time ever this weekend? I thought you were saying.
Oh, you mean with Maximus?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We had our. It's so cute, my girl. We had to pretend like it was really tough for us.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean?
We need you,
I
Mom.
think the story behind this is less that I was alone with Maximus and more this is the first time his mom wasn't gonna be around him to put him to bed and to feed him for 2 feedings. She's.
You mean it's not like all those 80s movies where it's like you put a man with a kid and they're like, and then the house explodes.
Yeah, they wear like a hazmat just to change the diapers.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, she was like going down the checkoff. She went to a concert with her family. They took a limo out to Pleasanton and they got tore up and had a great night. Didn't come home till like 2 a.m. or something like that. And so I had him. Now, I had him at 5 o'clock or whatever. She left 5 or 6 o'clock. She left and he goes to bed at 9:30. So it's not like we gave him his bath and fed him twice.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
But I think that she was concerned that I wasn't asking a lot of questions before she left. She's like, do you know where this is at? Are you sure you're going to be able to do this? Yeah. And do you want me to put this in the bathroom? And do you know when he does this, when he do this? And do you need me to put this in? And I said, okay, yeah, that would help actually if you go ahead and get the bottles ready for me so I can just grab them real quick. And if you want to set the bathroom up for me to where I don't have to go find the knee pad thing that you do that would be great. you know, and then she's like, okay, well, text me if there's any problems. And
isn't it fun giving him give him a little bath, little babies? It's so cute in the
no,
water.
I mean he loves it too.
He likes the water.
Yeah, we've already kind of. I mean, we've done a really good job. Katrina's done a phenomenal job. I think she really has started to implement a system for him. Like we've been doing the sleep train, and you know, he gets a bath like at 8 o'clock right now, and then as soon as he comes out of the bath, he gets fed his last big meal, and then he gets put down. And you know, for the most part, she's been able to put him down, and he doesn't even cry now. Like, so it used to be like the first couple times, maybe 2 times or 3 times tops, we'd put him down, and then the very first couple times it was challenging, more so for her. She would get, you know, she's watching the time. Like, you know, all the books say that, you know, after 10 minutes, you can go get him, you know, so you don't have to let him cry longer than 10. Like, let him cry for 10 minutes, but if he's still crying after 10 minutes, then it's okay if you go get him. And I'm like, yeah, but there's nothing that says that you can't let him cry for 15 minutes. He'll be okay. So, like,
You're such a dad.
I'm like,
That was me too, man.
and so she's like, we're downstairs, right, while he's crying the first time, right, and he's like crying, and so I have my clock is different too. Like, I don't start the 10-minute clock until like it's a real cry, like a and moving around. That's not crying yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want 10 minutes of crying before I go inside there. And so she's like, it's been 10 minutes. I'm like, no. Those first 2 were just kind of moving around. Like, he didn't really start crying until like 2 minutes in or whatever. So, you know, I remember the first time it was really hard for her to not run up there and grab him. And I remember she was just about to go up there at it was a little after 10 minutes. And before she could even get upstairs, he went, whoo, and then he fell asleep.
Oh, that's great.
And so, yeah, since then, man, he's been really good. And
I did that one time, but it backfired, and I felt so bad. It was my son. I don't remember how old he was, but he went through a phase, because they go through phases. Like, they'll sleep for a while, and then they'll want to cry every night, and then you'll go through phases where they don't want to sleep or whatever. And my son was kind of going through one of those. And he was crying, and you know, at the time, my wife's like, "Let me go up and just get him." I said, "No, give him another 5 minutes. Give him another." I was pushing, like, give him more time. Well, he didn't stop, and we went up there. Poor kid, it was poop all over the fucking.
same,
And I felt like such an asshole. You know what I mean?
Happen.
This is before we had we didn't have the video.
Yeah. Same thing happened for my best friend. Same exact thing. He was like, they let him cry for like 40 minutes, and they were like, he was all frustrated. No, telling his wife, no, go in. And they finally went in, and he'd like totally same thing, like shit himself.
How bad did he feel?
Yeah, he felt.
You feel like the biggest asshole of all time.
I feel like I would be able to. Well, it's hard. I guess maybe I can't see that well, like if he's pooped himself in the diaper, but you can. I mean, the cameras now are so badass. Like, you know,
I know.
The new one that we have, like. It tracks every movement. So I can see like his over the last night. I can look, and he goes, "Oh, okay. Maximus slept hard from 9 to 11. He wrestled around from 11 to 11.
It tells you that?
Oh, yeah. It tells me, and then it graphs it all out.
What the hell?
What a trip.
It just like our like the Aura Ring or whatever that for like it tracks all that stuff. So we even have a little booty sock that goes on him that monitors his breathing and his heart.
My God!
Through the whole night, and so
that takes helicopter parent to the whole a new level though.
Well, I mean, but it's also makes you feel fine though. Because here's how the before tools like this, I can imagine, because I've already caught myself like this. When you're first putting your kid down, like, is the blanket too close to his face?
Yeah,
Is he
of course.
right?
Yeah,
you're freaking out the whole time because then he doesn't move. So the best part is like when he's moving a little bit, you know he's alive. You know what I'm saying? Then he finally falls asleep, and then you get like worried, like, did he fall asleep or did he stop breathing? You can't see him breathing.
I know.
So with these things, like, I mean, I can see his pulse.
Well, no, his heart beating.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Yeah, his heart's beating fine, and the tools they have now are just
That's
fucking,
crazy.
Yeah,
That
badass.
is insane. Yeah. One time, my mom left all of us alone with my dad. It was one of the first times. Now, my dad is like the 80s dad, because he had no idea what the hell was going on. And she left for like a couple hours. Well, my youngest sister pooped herself. So my dad's trying to figure out how the hell to do this thing. So he called my sister, my sister must have been 5 or 6, to come help, because she has dolls. So she comes over and she's telling my dad how to do the diaper and where it goes, and he's like, "Where does this one go?" And she's like, "It goes over. No, it's upside down. It goes over here." And then my mom comes home. She's like, "Wow, you changed the diaper." And then I told on him. I'm like, Paula helped him. He's like, "What?" It's like, yeah, because she has dolls and stuff. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
Oh, man.
Dude, you know what I watched over the weekend?
What?
Do you guys remember the book Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? Do you remember these books?
with the real creepy drawings on the
yes,
cover.
Doug, can you look it up? Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark book.
I remember those.
You'll remember it, Adam, because it
might have been too scary for me.
It was super popular when we were kids.
They're coming out with the movies now, or
They
what?
came out with the movie.
Of course.
Now, I almost took my kids to the movie, but then I looked at the rating, PG-13, so I said, this may not be for kids. It wasn't. It wasn't for kids.
Definitely. Not
Oh,
for
really?
kids.
Yeah, it was definitely scary. Remember those drawings?
Oh my God.
Do you remember that?
That's definitely was
That
too
is
scary.
not for kids.
That's
Like,
too
what
scary
were they
for me.
thinking?
Yeah.
That was too scary for me.
Holy shit.
Do you remember that though?
Yeah.
We read that as kids. That one in the
I
middle.
know.
See the one in the middle?
They really tried to scare us when we were.
I remember
kids.
that book, and I remember I most certainly did not read that book.
Oh, you've
Yeah.
always been like that.
Yeah,
huh?
no.
I
think
read the whole thing.
The scariest books I read as a kid growing up was R.L. Stein stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, Fear Street and Goosebumps, right?
Goosebumps,
That was like
Oh
when
no,
I-
this was
I was reading Stephen King and all that crazy shit.
no.
way.
These
That's
stories
way too
were legit scary. Like there's a girl who had a pimple and she popped it and fucking spiders came out. And
Yeah, gross.
These were legit scary. I remember as a kid, we'd read them and you dare each other to read these in the dark or whatever. And the drawings are terrible. Look at
So
that.
did
Yeah,
you?
the
Did
drawings
you?
are
What's the movie
creepy.
like? Did you watch it?
Movie was good.
Oh, it was.
They did a good job. Yeah,
yeah.
you should watch it, Justin.
Have you seen It 2 yet?
No, I haven't seen
Come
it
on,
one
man.
either.
Oh,
Yeah.
why are we even talking?
Yeah. Oh,
No, just kidding.
yeah. It's time. Halloween's coming up, right?
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it. It was funny because we're still trying to nail down the costumes and everything with the kids, and they were like looking through all these like options and everything, and I'm like really trying to sell like my youngest first idea. I think it would be so epic and hilarious.
He came up with it.
He came up with it on his own, but they're so wishy-washy, you know. Like,
Wait, what idea was it?
okay, so he wanted to be like this old lady
Oh, that's
with
great.
a walker and like glasses and like he was like the whole thing was like completely he was basing off of my grandma.
Have a shawl. Put a shawl on it.
Exactly. I'm like, oh my god, like so funny, dude. It would be great. But now he's thinking some stupid thing like some army guy or whatever, you know. And I'm trying to take him right back. My oldest is going to be like a Highlander,
Oh,
which
cool.
would be badass. Yeah. So I was hoping for that, but I remember that I was like, dude, if I had the balls to do something like that when I was a kid, to do like just be like this old lady, it'd be so funny,
funny.
so funny.
So funny.
Do you guys remember all your old costumes? I vaguely remember mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were kind of dumb. I mean, I was a football player quite a few times. Like,
That's hella dumb.
Pretty
It's when
dumb.
when you're playing football, you're like,
Yeah.
I'm a football player.
So lazy.
Hey, asshole, you're a football player every
Yeah.
year. That's lame.
So lazy.
Everyone's I had skeleton, right? A pirate.
Yeah.
I did all the basic ones.
you?
Yeah. Skeleton, a pirate.
I was. Do you ever have a costume that you repeated over and over again?
Yeah, of course you have.
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I was Rocky, or
Of course you.
or
were.
a mobster,
Yeah, mobster,
over and
I was
over
a mobster.
again. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
I was
you'd be
always
the mobster.
Johnny from Karate Kid. I've actually done multiple versions of that, where I was like, you know, the karate, like the skeleton version.
I got more into it as an adult. As an adult, I had more fun with like creative costumes and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I was some of my favorite costumes were when I got older, and then like I had them like made. Like
Did you guys ever dress up as a girl?
No,
Never.
that's your thing. Bro.
Almost everybody. Really, that was a big thing when we were growing up. In
yeah,
the
it
90s.
was.
That's what your friends told you.
Yeah. No.
They really wanted to see you.
Hey,
That's
let's dress up as
based
girls.
off of that face app. You were the hottest. I'll be
Yeah.
honest.
I was
Yeah.
smoking. Tricked all my friends.
No, the funny one was when I was a Ghostbuster. My mom made it, right? So I have this like janitor outfit, right, that she sewed together, and then I have this fucking shoebox with a flashlight that came through, and it was like I was trying. It was so clunky and like homemade, but it was like I was rocking it.
Oh, our homemade ones were the best ones too.
Hardcore.
We would get like serious. My buddies and I were like competitive about it. Like who could bring like the best costume and that was homemade that you had to create. Like we'd do some really cool stuff. I did the Sparta one, the Spartan, the 300 one.
Of course.
I did that
like,
one.
How can I show off my muscles?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when you were Ultimate Warrior.
That was Ultimate
one
Warrior.
time. That was epic.
Natalie made that whole entire costume. That was all handmade. So we did that one. I did Slash. Slash was one of my favorite. I did that one
that's
when
a
you
good
were.
one.
Yeah, I've done some cool ones as an adult. As a kid, I did all the stupid ones. All the,
Yeah,
the-
I think that's how it goes.
you
They
go
just
buy
have
at Kmart
dumb
or whatever.
ideas.
You know what I'm saying?
You remember the plastic ones, the vinyl ones when we were kids?
Yeah,
Where you
yeah.
buy it at like at the liquor store or whatever.
Yeah, that's like
it's
the-
plastic and it's got a plastic mat that
Yeah,
you
it's
breathe
just
into all day.
sad. Yeah, it's-
You breathe into that thing and it starts to sweat. You're like, what
it's
the
sad.
hell? Terrible.
Yeah, I want to be another bully this year for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to dress up, huh?
All right, our first question is from Chase Tuning. I'm dealing with a torn rotator cuff and AC joint sprain. How would you advise training around this injury?
Now, Sal, this happened to you, right? Did you not sprain yours?
I didn't have a tear in my rotator cuff, but I did have a separation in my AC joint, a slight separation.
Now, do you think the tear in the rotator cuff is due to the issue with the AC joint, and maybe it's put stress on the rotator?
I don't know which one came first. You know, you tend to see more than one thing. So you'll see like bicep tendon inflammation, rotator cuff tear, and then some AC joint issues. You tend to see more than one problem when somebody hurts their shoulder, especially if it's an injury. Not like just working out and it hurts, but rather he fell or did something to it. I don't know what Chase did exactly to his shoulder, but I'll say this when it comes to an injury. Now, basic is just train everything but that area. So do all the stuff that you can do and don't do anything that you can't do. Now, some people will be like, oh my God, I want to be able to work that area out. Am I going to lose muscle? You will lose muscle in that area, but it comes back really fast. Muscle memory is a pretty awesome thing. Here's the other thing too. Don't make this mistake of not working out at all. Studies have shown that if you train, for example, old studies will show that if you train like your right arm and don't train your left arm, you'll definitely gain more muscle in your right arm than your left, but there's some carryover. There is some carryover. So, your rotator cuff is torn, your AC joint hurts. That doesn't mean you can't work out your lower body. It doesn't mean you can't do things, simple exercises like curls and tricep extensions. I would even maybe add, depending on how it feels, some real light shoulder movements. Maybe not any presses, but maybe some light lateral.
More like isometrics.
I feel like this is where
great and safe.
I feel like this is where like Prime Pro comes in handy. I would live in those type of movements, dude.
Yeah, all the mobility work.
Yeah, you just want to know where those where the thresholds lie, like where the pain, is definitely obvious, and to find those ranges, and then just work into it, back off, really slow, really gradual, not too much intensity, but still like movement is medicine. So there is that element there where you want to consider not just being completely immobilized.
Yeah,
personally, I would be less likely to take a client through exercises that are surrounding the shoulder that I'm going to have to use it at all, that with weight. And I would be just doing a lot of mobility work on the shoulder. I would be doing a lot of trying to challenge threading the needle and wall circles and handcuff with rotation. See, just your body weight, so that if it does hurt or you feel it, you take it to that end range and you try and challenge that end range. Because one of the number one things that I would see problems with like torn rotator cuffs and shoulder issues is the buildup of scar tissue after it's healed, because you limit yourself from doing anything. Because, oh, that bothers me if I lift my shoulder up that high. Oh, if I turn it internally, rotate this much. Oh, that bothers me there. So they don't do anything and they stay away from it. Then it finally heals up. But then you
run into like frozen shoulder now, where it's locked in place, and then that's going to affect the other shoulder. It's a big problem at that point.
Well, a lot of this depends on how bad the tear is. A lot of people get a tear.
We don't know enough about it.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
And it could be like a real small tear in the supraspinatus. If it's a full tear, you're gonna need surgery.
Yeah.
If it's a tiny tear, oftentimes your doctor will say you could just rest and let it heal. In which case, mobility work is probably not a bad idea. But here's what you have to do: you have to really pay attention to what your body's telling you while you're going through these movements. Just because something's a mobility movement doesn't mean it won't hurt you more if you're not smart about it. I mean, you could do handcuff with rotation, have a really bad rotator cuff tear, and really fucking tear it.
Yeah, you're not trying to press through the pain. That's for sure.
No, the idea is you take it to the end range. That's the idea is not that you work through it or push through it. And I think there's more risk at doing that with doing weighted exercises, i.e. seated rows, chest pressing, doing things thinking like, okay, I can do this, it's okay. Because all that takes is a little bit of you to come out of like bad or come out of good mechanics and poor form, and the shoulder just not in an optimal place for that to really fuck it up. And then now you're holding on to 100 pounds on the barbell, or you're doing something way more risky than if you're doing something like a handcuff with rotation and you're like, ooh, okay, ow, that hurts right there. And it's just you're taking yourself through that range of motion with no weight or resistance. in my opinion, you're far better off.
And if you were to gradually incorporate resistance, I'd probably start with rubber bands as a way to kind of gradually bring that in. So at least it goes with your natural strength curve. So that way it's like, you'll feel the most stress in your strongest point.
Yeah. When I had my shoulder surgery, I cut the recovery time in half. More than half, probably down 2/3 by what the doctor told me how long it was going to take. I don't remember exactly how long he said, but he told me, by this date, you should be okay to train, moderately heavy. And it was way sooner than that. And I was just rehabbing it, but I was very careful. I was moving it to its end range. Oop, that doesn't hurt. That kind of, okay, let's stay within that range of motion. Can't go any further. But I would test it little by little. And it was remarkable. And I did lose a shit ton of muscle initially. I remember I had to wear this shoulder brace, and I had the whole deal. You know what I mean? I had the pain pump. You ever seen that? Where they actually have a catheter directly to the site of surgery, and you push it I had that in there for a while or whatever. And I remember when I took everything off and I looked in the mirror, and this is for someone who's like works out for their whole life. I'm looking in the mirror. I'm like, oh, this sucks. Like, it looks like this arm, it's all gone.
Shrunk. Yeah.
It's all gone. It came back so fast, so fast. That muscle memory is, and now I have no issues. I mean, I have a little bit of loss of stability in my left shoulder, but that's not because, because I lost muscle. It's because part of my AC joint was resected and it's never going to come back. But aside from that, it came back very, very quickly. So, yeah, I would go like what we're saying. Go through, listen to your body, go through the movements, easy, challenge your range of motion, but be smart about it. The parts of your body you can train hard, go for it. If you can train your legs hard, go for it. You probably can't barbell squat because of reaching back to grab the bar. Fine, no need to do that. There's leg press, there's lunges, there's other exercises you can do for your lower body. And just keep the rest of your body strong, and that'll mitigate some of the loss of strength.
Water stuff is really cool for this too.
Oh, being in the pool?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Being able to go in the pool and because then you get like a little bit of resistance with the water, but just enough to where it's still really easy and not very risky. So I remember going just through the Achilles and my knee, being able to do work in the pool is a nice place to progress. Like I start with just my own body, my own resistance and control, and challenging that as I start to progress. Water is the next place I like to go. And then maybe like Justin said, bands, and then eventually back into weights.
Yeah, and things that help speed up recovery, besides the obvious, get good sleep, have a good diet, train properly and appropriately. Red light therapy. So there's some studies that show that it helps speed up your recovery. Sauna use seems to speed up recovery. At the very least, it reduces pain. So those are a couple things you can do to help speed up the process. But the biggest things are going to be get good sleep and make sure your diet is good.
Next question is from Good Pepperoni. I've been struggling with knee pain for years due to pronation distortion. What's the best way to go about fixing this issue? I know I have posture problems, but don't know where to start.
Now, pronation distortion, is she referring to her feet pronating?
Yes,
that's what I would assume.
Yeah, I'm assuming that I don't ever heard anyone say pronation distortion like that before, and I'm assuming that means her feet's pronating, her femur's internally rotating. That's putting direct stress on the inside of her knee.
Yeah, so pronation distortion comes from. I just looked it up. I wanted to make sure that we were right. It is from the feet being flat and causing the feet to pronate, which then causes the knees to turn in.
Yeah.
So it's like knock-kneed.
Yeah, no, the flat feet internally rotates the femur, which then knocks the knees in and puts the stress normally right on the inside of your knee.
So now you have...
Which I had some. This is me.
You had some of this?
Yeah, just on one side excessively. So when Brink was first assessing me and we were breaking down my squat, this is one of the areas that I had to really work on, was having that one side that was excessively pronating in, and it's...
Now, for the listeners who have no idea what we're talking about, pronating is when your foot, imagine a foot that's really flat, so your foot turns out to the outside a little bit. Supination would be the opposite. That would be your arch being really strong and your foot wanting to turn in. So this is somebody's foot is turning out and their knees want to come in.
Not turning out, turning in.
Well, you know what I mean. Turning in, but the outside of the foot is the one that wants to turn up. So it's like a really flat foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully I explained it well. But so here's the thing. You've got knee pain. So you're probably expecting us to give you a bunch of exercises and stuff to help your knees feel better.
No, feet.
It's all about your feet. No. Yeah. Address your feet and your ankles. Work on strengthening the arch of your foot. So there's a movement called short foot.
Short foot.
And
That's a tough one.
You can look it up on YouTube. And this is where you activate the muscles of the midfoot, like you're literally trying to cinch up or shorten your foot. Do that exercise.
Your piano toes.
Yeah, work on your toes.
Doug, can you put a note for this for Danny for some YouTube videos? Because I don't think we've done a lot of good stuff. I have some cool stuff too where, and I taught this on my Instagram a long time ago, but I know we haven't done YouTube, where you put quarters under the fat pad of your feet. So a lot of times if somebody has an issue where their feet collapse in when they squat or they pronate, like we're talking about, when they do a calf raise, the ankles will kick out really hard excessively. Sure. Mm-hmm. And so one of the ways to strengthen the feet and strengthen the proper movement is to get feedback by putting quarters underneath the fat pads of your feet.
I used to put a lacrosse ball between the ankles, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, you could do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you put the core, and then when you push up, what you're looking for is not the flaring out, and that you're being able to keep the ankles neutral, and that's one way to strengthen. The other thing that I love to do is, now once you understand that you're trying to keep the ankles neutral and not allowing them to flare out or flare in, and you're keeping them neutral while you're in a flex position, right, standing on your tiptoes, is tippy toe squats. Mm-hmm. This is where I love to, and you start off with just your body weight first. And the idea of when you squat down and you get to the bottom of the squat, again, the ankles will want to kick out and flare out. And the whole goal is that you're keeping those ankles neutral as you're squatting up and down. And then you can progressively load that over time, and that'll do great.
Now, the other thing you can address that'll help with the knee pain pretty quickly is address your hips a little bit. Here's a good exercise. So the physio ball squat against the wall. So this is where there's a physio ball against the wall. You put your low back against the ball, so you're kind of leaning up against it, and then you squat up and down. But before you squat, take a band and put it around right above your knees and push out against the band as you squat. So what you're trying to do is offset the knock knee issue that's happening.
So this is also a place where I would use foam rolling, right? So more than likely, if your femur's internally rotated like that and you're pronating, your IT is probably some of the responsible for some of the knee pain that you feel. So before you do your exercises, actually spending some time kind of releasing some of that'll help, because if it's really tight and pulling, it's just making everything worse.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So I would foam roll my IT before I would do anything with this person. And then to Sal's point, I would normally do tube walking. That's what I would do.
Yeah, just focus on the abduct, the legs
hip
coming
bridging,
apart.
Yeah, with your knees, with the
Yeah. Now,
across.
Now, if you want it structured and planned out with video examples and all that stuff, this is MAPS Prime Pro. So if you really want to fix this and work on this yourself, you can get a program like MAPS Prime Pro and then look up all the foot, toe, ankle exercises and hip movements, and just start applying the ones that you have the most difficulty with. Yeah. And then you should notice some improvements in your knee pain.
Next question is from Never Settle HW. How do you guys handle hunger during a fast?
You know, this is a funny question because it just highlights how people are so unaccustomed to feeling the feeling of hunger,
right,
that they just want to avoid it at all costs. It's such an uncomfortable feeling. You know, here's what this, by the way, this is one of the reasons why I fast, is because this is the spiritual aspect of it, is dealing with the fact that you're hungry.
Yeah, if you
don't have food.
If you're a real gangster, you take this time and you become very still and meditate. Yeah. Like you become
friends with it.
Right. You become aware that, oh man, I'm hungry right now.
Yeah, don't avoid it. Don't let it. Don't be distracted.
Right. Like, oh, you know what? Let's sit in this for a while. And the interesting part is, it seems way longer than what it is. It actually normally passes in less than an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like normally when we fast, there's at best there's an hour struggle that I have, and once I get beyond that struggle, it's crazy how much it passes. Yeah. It passes and then it goes like, oh wow, I don't even feel like I could totally go another 10 hours, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, there's a point too where it's like I sit there and I recognize like, wow, I could feel viscerally I'm getting angry, you know, and it's like coming. And so I'll grab a glass of water and I'll just like have something to like do.
Yeah, water or gum is something that I always have. Like when I'm fasting, I also probably hydrate really well too, because I'm not.
But that only, I mean, the first 2 times I want to say, like I went through that process. Like Just go through it, man. Go through it, because it's not going to always be like that. Once you recognize it and your body is aware that this is a feeling like that's going to pass, then you're okay with it.
I think this is an area too. Be careful, because this is, we always get questions about fasting, like, oh, if you do coffee or caffeine, is it technically breaking your fast?
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of people that like are okay, and there's nothing wrong with you doing but except for, I notice stomach issues or stomach pain more if I'm messing with caffeine or coffee on a fast. So I prefer, if I'm going to fast, I have a much easier time if I'm just water, straight water, nothing else, none of the other bullshit everybody tries to add into their fast. Stick to just pure water. Yeah. If I need to keep my mouth busy, I'll chew on some gum if I'm not drinking water, and I seem
because then you get the benefits when you are like really hydrated, and like your body's not always that hydrated. Like you get a good euphoric feeling from that.
True.
So that does help.
Very true. But I think the best advice is to make friends with it. It's like I've been watching a lot of videos on mindfulness, and that's the main teaching that they go through is you're still going to have feelings. You're going to feel pain. You're going to feel hunger or cold or whatever. But what we do is these, as intelligent creatures, is we add several layers to it. We start to fight the pain or fight the hunger. We start to, we hate it. It's uncomfortable. But now not only is it uncomfortable, but I hate it that's uncomfortable, and I want to fight it, and I want to avoid it, and I want to distract myself. And what you're doing is you're changing the experience and making it far worse. So being hungry is uncomfortable. It definitely is, but it doesn't have to be that bad. And so you can just sit in it and just realize like, oh, this is part of what happens when you fast. And here's another one. Don't try to avoid it. A lot of people try to take their mind somewhere. Let me distract myself so I don't think. Actually feel it. Allow yourself to feel hungry. Think about what it feels like. Add a color to it. Add a shape to it. I don't know. Make it something you can see and feel and touch. And what'll happen is you'll start to make friends with it, and you'll reframe it, and then you'll be okay, and it won't be that big of a deal. But that's the reason why I fast. Is that practice right there? The practice of being okay with being uncomfortable was something that's very easy to do. Like otherwise, I'd have to go somewhere and go in the wilderness or do something much more challenging. It takes more time. When I can just not eat for a couple days and gain some of those skills.
Next question is from Liam Hodgson. What are your favorite types of gyms to go to, and how does the experience differ?
Oh, yeah, good question. So there's two main type gyms that I'll work out in, and then there's other gyms that I'll occasionally work out in. So the two main gyms are my garage and the Club Sport, which is kind of like a upscale type of a gym. Yeah, but they have a nice functional area. I will say that. Real nice functional workout area.
I just got a membership. They closed me finally.
Where?
Yeah.
Oh, you finally got a membership there?
Yeah, because I kept doing day passes.
I thought they were going to let you in after what I said.
I was like, he messed up your showers last time. You guys still going to let him in?
Yeah. Because somebody did.
Thanks, dude. Yeah.
No, so when I work out in my garage, it's chalk, it's barbells, dumbbells, it's heavier typically. It's dirtier,
it's in ya.
And I'm just and I'm going hard. I'm going hard in there.
Is that during bench? Or?
Yeah. When I'm at Club Sport, then I'm doing much more machines. I use way more machines when I go there, just to have access to them. And I like the steam room and the sauna afterwards, so I do that kind of stuff. And then if I go to like a random strange gym, if it's a bodybuilder type gym or whatever, each of these different gyms, it makes me feel different, and I get a different kind of a workout.
Those are the ego gyms.
I 100% agree with that. Here's the thing: it just really depends on how you look at like fitness and how much of it you're like. We're all really into this, right? Like Katrina gives me shit about this all the time. Like she gets mad at me because I have a 24-hour fitness membership. I have a Club Sport membership. I have an American Barbell membership. We have our gym here. Like I've got stuff in the garage to work out with. But here's how I mean, that stuff is so important to me that and the reason why I've justified it and I value it and spending, and a lot of like my buddy who's like a tight ass about everything financially would be like, that's so ridiculous. Like you haven't used that gym membership in 3 months. Why would you even still pay for it? It's like, well, what I don't ever want is for me to not do something do something physical or active because I don't have access to it, right? Like, Sometimes I just had this. I've got the rower down in my garage. I rode just 2 nights ago. I hadn't used it in a few weeks, but I also don't feel like it's a waste of money for me because I was able to use that. And I like the fact that I have that access to that right away whenever I want to. I like that when I get in the mood to swim again, I go down to Club Sport and I do that. Or if I want to steam in a really nice place or train in their field that they have there, I want to have access to that. Sometimes I want to be just in our studio where nobody's around. I get barefoot. I take my shirt off. I blast the music. I turn the lights off. I watch football on the TV. It's like, so it really depends on the things that you get excited about when you work out. Now, we're all kind of fitness fanatics, so I find value in all those things. When I'm most motivated and like I feel the best about my physique and I've been training consistently, I love going American barbell. At all times, there's at least 3 to 5 other pro bodybuilders in there, and because I come from that still, I like that. It's motivating. I get hyped up to be lifting next to other people that are training hard and dedicated and disciplined. I know the work they're putting into training, and it makes me, when I go there, like not half-ass my workout. Where if I'm in here by myself, I might cruise to the workout. That's enough. Now I'm gonna go sit in the infrared sauna for a while. Like, so it really depends on what I'm trying to get out of my workout will dictate what gym I head over to. And I feel it's worth the $200 or $300 a month that I probably pay in all the memberships to have access to it because I value that.
Yeah, I'm definitely drawn to specific types of gyms. And it's funny. I think it's mainly because like going through sports training and like there's elements to it. Like if there's a big field, like I want to move. Like I love like the whole movement where now they're incorporating this grass element next to the weights. Like that was like game changer for me because it like reignited that type of like athletic minded, I'm going to get my workout in, but I'm also going to move and express myself after the workout. I love that. And so, yeah, Club Sport had that, but they also have the old man stuff, which is great with the steam and the sauna and all that.
Did you hear him? I tried to point it out to you when he was dropping the 100-pound dumbbells at Club Sport.
No,
I didn't say anything to you. I'm bringing it up now for the first time. That's like the no there. That's once I forgot about that. Yeah, so I won't lift heavy at Club Sport upstairs because it's upstairs, and when you drop those hundreds, it fucking echoes through the whole entire place. Really? Yeah, I'm surprised that no one came over and said anything to you. I tapped Sal on the shoulder when you had your headphones on. He's over there chest, he drops the whole place goes.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Lightly put down hundreds?
Well, no, that's why stupid. I only train there like that weight training when I'm like Sal doing machine work or going real light up there. I won't go heavy in that place just for that reason. Yeah. Justin don't give a fuck.
I don't fucking care, dude. Yeah. Like, I mean, and the funny thing is like when we work out, when I was in high school, it was like this tiny, it was about the size of the studio. Like we had to fit in like 70 guys.
Best workout, I bet.
Oh my God. But then somebody would bust ass and like clear the entire place. It'd be ruined, so I'm not nostalgic about that.
It's funny because a lot of people think you need to have a lot of equipment. You need to have a great gym, to feel motivated.
Just weights.
I'll tell you what, man, if I think back to my entire life of working out, my best workouts ever were in the fucking smallest, dirtiest, like, my backyard workouts, some of my best ever. Some of my most memorable workouts were in my backyard. The YMCA that I started working out at one of the first gyms that I became a member of. Some of the best workouts I ever had in my entire life were there. What's that gym in Texas? Big Tex?
Yeah, Big Tex was a rad one.
We walked into that gym to film with Ben Pollock, and we were all hungover. Remember that? The night before, we stayed up late, we drank. Yeah. All of us woke up, we're like, we feel like garbage. But we walked in there, and the environment of this place made all of us want to work out. We all decided.
You guys would have liked the shop in Virginia. Really? Yeah, it had that same kind of Big Tex vibe, but it was like cleaner and everything, but a little bit more sanitary.
The gym that disappointed me the most, that I just didn't get that vibe from that I thought I would, was Gold's Venice. I've worked out at Gold's Venice now twice.
I actually think that's
over glamorized.
It's way overrated.
Yeah,
I think that gym's whack.
Yeah,
I'm gonna piss off a bunch of people that work out there and love it and stuff like that. Whack.
Yeah, it's got equipment. It's got all the equipment you need, but it doesn't. Like I walked in there and I expected to like.
It doesn't even have all the equipment. It's okay, dude. It's not the equipment selection ain't even that big.
They haven't changed it in like decades.
It's built. It's because of the place where it's at. I mean, it's because it's a
history.
Yes.
The golden era.
And they also did it the outside part where everybody takes Instagram photos. The green wall
peeling paint or whatever
is famous, but other than that, the gym it doesn't even crack my top 10. It doesn't even crack my top 20.
No.
There's so many other gyms.
Now you know where I want to work out still that I still have yet to do, and I'm gonna make a trip there just to work out because I've always want to work out.
Bev's.
No, Muscle Beach. But you're right. Bev's is another one. That's a good. That's East Coast. What they call it, East Coast Mecca. No, I'm talking about Muscle Beach. I've never, and I love working out outdoors. If you ever lifted weights in the sun, it's the best. It's the absolute fucking best. So they have Muscle Beach, which I guess they're redoing. They're renovating it. So the last time we were down there, couldn't get a workout. But at some point, I'd like to go down there, pay a fee, go and work out in the sun with the beach right there, and then right after my workout, take off my shirt, go in the
Jump
water.
in the ocean.
Yeah, tell me that wouldn't be awesome.
I like it.
And with that, go to mindpumpfree.com and download our guides. They're all absolutely free. You can also find all of us on Instagram. You can find Justin at MindPumpJustin. You can find me at MindPumpSal and Adam at MindPumpAdam.